Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
It's the subplot of this year's championship game in Frisco, Texas. Early arrivers to the tailgate section at Toyota Stadium were told they couldn't stay and had to pack up and leave. Tonight, there are dozens of RVs, vans, and buses there parked around the Frisco area, anxiously waiting for their turn to line up, set up, and fire up before tomorrow's game. Valley News Team's Mike Morgan joins us live from Frisco. Mike?
Andrea, the problem, of course, had to do with policy regarding the parking of RVs and campers and stuff. And apparently the policy, according to the stadium officials, has been in place, and it just didn't allow overnight parking. But that has forced some of the early birds to move, actually not too far away. Sean Vockel joins me. He's from Fargo. And Sean, you're within a football's throw of the parking lot anyway. And how would you describe how the day went today?
Well, we thought this morning that we had covered our bases as far as where we could park. Have some guys from Frisco here originally that we tailgate with from year to year, and they'd kind of done their research and thought they knew where we could park and avoid the procedure and policies as far as not getting in till tomorrow. And comes down to it, we had set up early this morning, and at the end of the day, probably about 3-4 hours after we got set up, we actually ended up getting removed from where we were, as well as probably, I don't know how many people were set up, but it was probably, what do you think, Doug?
20 other groups.
Well, there was probably 20 other groups. Mike.
Well, and here we are. It looks like 10 o'clock here in Frisco, Texas, and everybody kind of settled in.
Well, we did. A number of the people left frustrated. There was quite a few people that were quite upset. I think the idea, or the problem was that they got into the parking lot without breaking any rules, and they got set up, and then 3-4 hours later they were asked to leave. So that was, I think, what the frustration came from.
All right. Turning to tomorrow, you ready to anxious to get set up and then move into the stadium to cheer the Bison on?
I think we're going to stay right here as far as tailgating, but there'll be a lot of Bison fans roll in, as well as JMU fans, the way it sounds, and I think we're looking forward to probably the best game of the last 5. So. And
you've been here every year, so you would know.
We've been here every game, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm pretty sure the Bison are going to be victorious.
All right, thank you so much. Tailgating opens up at 5:30 tomorrow. You can bet there's going to be a long line of everybody wanting to get in. Our coverage of the pregame show begins at 9:30. We're going to go for 90 minutes. Have a lot of things packed for that show. We certainly hope you join us for that as we head right up to the kickoff. The game, of course, being aired on ESPN2. For now, live from Frisco, Texas, Mike Morgan, Valley News Live.
All right, thanks so much, Mike, for that live report.
The 5-time champions are here. We're going for a six-pack this year. Toss that coin up in the air.
Before the big game tomorrow, Bison faithful gathered for a Hootin and Hollerin good time tonight. Many of you watched the Proceed Pep Fest on KX4. There were a number of special guests, including North Dakota U.S. Senators John Hoeven and Heidi Heitkamp, Governor Doug Burgum also, and a host of former Bison football players were also on hand to help celebrate as the herd looks to secure their 6th national championship in 7 years. After going through a brutal week of cold weather, we are looking forward to getting out of the deep freeze. Robert, what's going on in the overnight hours?
Well, in the early overnight hours, some of us are still into the deep freeze, particularly our far eastern counties where we've got some clear skies and some calm winds and temperatures well below zero. Minus 24 right now in Bemidji, 22 below in Baudette. It's minus 8 here in Fargo. However, a couple hours ago, we were at minus 11, so starting to go in the right direction. Winds across the east, mainly light to calm, and they're starting to pick up out of the southeast off towards the west, and that is creating some cold wind chills. Cold as 36 below in Baudette, minus 31 in Roseau and Thief River Falls, 19 below here in Fargo. There are the clouds slowly advancing off towards the east, and we're going to see some mostly cloudy skies as we head through your Saturday. Nothing falling out of those clouds, but we do have to talk about a wind chill advisory. This in effect overnight tonight through 10 a.m. tomorrow for wind chills as cold as 20 to 40 below. But we'll be climbing out of that deep freeze before you know it. The details on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right. Thank you, Robert. A mother looking for answers about what happened to her daughter called our whistleblower hotline, and our investigation uncovered a homicide investigation near Devil's Lake. In an exclusive interview, Janae Samuels and her daughter said her daughter was murdered back in November. Our investigation revealed Georgina Lopez died of a stab wound to the chest. According to police, John Graywind, a relative of Savannah Graywind, was in a car chase and apprehended the same day Lopez died. The FBI said that a domestic stabbing incident led to Lopez being dumped at the Devil's Lake Hospital. Still, Mom wants answers.
Because I'm sick and tired of not knowing why my daughter was murdered. It's not that I want answers. I need answers. I deserve answers.
The FBI said there's an ongoing joint investigation, but couldn't confirm that Graywind is in custody. To see the full investigation, head over to valleynewslive.com. Some area schools are working to allow you to know where your child is when heading to and from school. Valley News Team's Ashley Holcomb tells us what's being done to help you keep a close eye on your kids.
What if you could track your child on their school bus route?
That would make me feel better.
Well, at least you'd know where they're at.
Better knowing where they are, safer.
Fargo School District and Valley Bus have been testing a pilot program that allows them to record the exact time each student gets on and off the bus. When the child steps on, they scan their card. And before the student steps off, they scan again. But this hasn't been the easiest to implement.
Kids need to have the cards. They need to be on their backpacks. They can't be lost. They need to scan them. And they need to scan both getting on and getting off. It takes a little more time, so it's a sort of a complicated process.
However, officials say the positives seem to outweigh the negatives.
At any one point in time, you'll know who's on the bus. You can see it online on a computer at any time. And you can see where kids get off if you've got a lost child at a later point.
Because this information is limited to the schools in Valley Bus, they've selected a few parents to try an app called Here Comes the Bus. This application shows parents where the bus is and how close it is to their home with just the touch of a button. Lewis and Clark, Lincoln, and Eagles Elementary are the only schools using the tracking programs. So will this expand to all the elementary schools? A decision has not yet been made, but McLaughlin has hope.
Right now, I'd say almost all parties agree that the benefits are worth the investment in time, effort, and money to make this happen.
In Fargo, Ashley Holcomb, Valley News Live.
The Fargo School District and Valley Bus are only focusing on elementary schools at this time. Whether they expand this to middle schools and high schools has not yet been discussed. Bison Nation is rallying around a 10-year-old NDSU fan as he and his family get ready for a tough road ahead. That's later on Valley News Live at 10. But first, what one hospital in the Twin Cities is doing to make sure football fans are well cared for if they have a health emergency at the Super Bowl.